don't want party, my brother. I don't want party, my brother.
Wewe.
Yeah.
Welcome to Embrace the Darkness. Embrace your darkness in the rabbit hole. Na I musahau in some of the shows, but leo sitasahau. There is no solution in this show. All the discussions here are opinionated. Opinionated. Any fact that will come here, muda direct you to the link. That fact. Hizo zingine, this is just entertainment. Tafadhali. What was ikuje tena wewe unadhani bro, if someone decides to ride on how the world is, unless you can counter that, stop bringing things ukasirike na venye anaona. Rabbit hole, tunaingia huko bila peace. Anyway, so today before me introduce my beautiful girlfriend here, let me go for the newcomer.
Yes.
Ngoja.
Yes. Namaste.
Yeah.
Soak it in.
Okay.
I start again.
Yeah.
Hebu mpige intro kwa venye unafanyanga ile tukianza.
Sasa kusikia wivu.
Mbona nisikie sharing? Moto number 5.
And caring is fun. Oh, the caring about the sharing is fun. One of them.
Caring is fun. Sharing is fun.
Unajua ilikuwa nisemee mko na kinda same tone, like mko na hiyo
Sema
hiyo sauti inatoka sauti inatoka huko
It's a vibe.
So now
Yeah, vibe.
kuna venye mnafanana. But
you.
sasa she's a better version, like hiyo inakoga.
So ulikuwa unataka nisikie ka feeling. Ouch. Sikia ouch.
So beyond that,
Wewe uone vile nimeimprove.
niko na wewe sasa. Nilikuwa nataka tu kusema tu hiyo, alafu sasa ndo nisimuintroduce sana.
Tulisema cheza chini. Yani siku ya kwanza unampea kiti.
Oh, true.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Funny to introduce aje.
Yeah, introduce kila kitu.
Unaweza sema you are a mother of 10.
Oh, okay.
No, who are you?
Fun. Like nafani waangalia ama niangalie
Kila mtu unaweza.
Okay.
Usiangalia producer.
Housekeeping rules.
Don't check usiangalia producer. That's one.
Ya kwanza ni usimalizage maji. Ukwe.
Hata sina.
Au producer.
Mko selfish kwa hii.
No.
Mko very selfish.
Wanajua watu wa kufanyia kazi. Ni kidogo hata
Yani
nafasi
hata
kuendea.
iko so glaring. Yani
No.
mgeni hana maji.
I actually
Bana,
was
mimi then umechapa flash. Kumbe mko mmepatia mgeni.
tutakuwa na nini?
Nanda anashindwa kujiintroduce.
Sala nyuma.
Akufukuzae.
Akwambi toka.
Producer. Forgive.
Producer. Surely, mbona watuchomea umeband?
Give us your intro now.
I'm Doreen. Mwangi. Yeah. Aspiring mother of 7. Yeah.
From
At least
one dad mom.
One dad.
At least you're CEO economy, so it's fine.
Yeah. So, lover of life. You're so cliche. But, okay, sijui kujiintroduce. I think mtajua more about me.
Yeah, tukiendelea.
Songa.
It's nice. That's
Itakuwa
that.
too so evident.
Older version. Sasa introduce yourself.
It's not called older version. It's called the seasonal version.
Seasonal.
Yes.
What do you mean?
Mama kanisa.
What do you mean by seasonal?
Si mimi ninaelewa.
Like, kuna season huko na kuna season huko.
Yes, sasa unajua ni new player wakati tu anasainiwa in.
Ndio ameingia
Ronaldo
sasa.
anaambiwa lazima uende utafute sasa uko mwingine akina Juventus.
Huyo unajua bado hata namba yake hapo first 11 bado haijaingiana.
Ana warm bench. Shoot ana catch up, which is good kwa sababu there's something sema out with the old, Wasemanga out with the old, in with the new. Exactly. So at least najua the way we're proceeding with, especially when it comes to a podcast, learning from each other, it's always let me call it, it's a blank check ever, and it's beautiful and it's amazing. So Doreen, karibu, feel at home. Nobody should.
At least nimepata maji.
Thank you. Praise Jesus. I do better than this, Na mimi nakuwa mother hen hapa lakini lazima nipewe
Sasa shida na
permission.
shangaa nitaifikia. Unaona aje?
Unasongesha tu, fanya hivi. Just push your yes.
Pia
Alafu
unaweza
naifikia.
Thank you. Yeah.
Naishika hapa. Okay.
Yes.
pia unaweza
Yeah.
kuwa
Sip some water.
useme cheki.
But Diesel can do it for you.
Unapata na kuchukulia tunakuletea.
Oh, okay, sawa.
Yeah, sip some water. Anyway, usijali kunakuwa na post call analysis after tumemaliza show. So tutaongea about your
Nitawapea feedback.
yes, lazima utupatie feedback. So, welcome to today's episode. Karembo kula hivyo kwa Spaces X wanaitanga mama kanisa Karembo, all so many names and all together. But one thing I know, entertainment always, and this is a safe space. Any day you can talk about everything and anything, no judgment, and have fun. Like, don't have fun.
You know how to have fun.
Yes, that is the most amazing part about it. So, Karibu, welcome. And Dizo is usually he's very, let me say, he's very caring, very, like, he makes you feel important and involved. That's why I love Dizo. He's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
But the question is, to how many people?
To
Very
everybody.
many.
Okay.
Many.
Yeah. And you make them feel all.
All of them I make them.
Oh,
Wow.
yes.
Must be nice.
I'm telling you I'm the best character developer you'll meet.
Oh,
So far.
ni Mjaluo, so
Certified. Tested, approved.
Tested and
Trusted.
yeah.
I'm telling you all my exes have improved their life.
So are you about to improve? Improve? Yeah,
Of course.
Ama una improve after the fact.
No, like as in
Mkiendelea tu.
tukiendelea tu na kuimprove mpaka hata unanishinda. Inabidi sasa unasonga.
That is my work.
I'm a very good character developer. So, nispendagi watu wakuwe comfortable na mimi.
Okay.
Because I'm not comfortable around anyone. So don't be comfortable.
Soft life Diesel.
Soft life. Mimi usiwahi ni trust. Don't be loyal to me. Yeah.
How then are you a therapist?
Because you're trusting the cause.
Ama it's more about
Ati, how are you?
He's a therapist.
Wait.
Yes.
Hey. Okay.
Ndio nakwambia feel
Very interesting.
he seemed to he learns a lot. He gauges vitu very fast and that's when unasikia akisema wacha tutafanya Karembo leo akasirike. I think that is his fun.
Logo.
And I'm enjoying that part about yeah. Amekasirika.
Kwa nimejua kuna venye chest control inaweza kaa fiti kwa big.
By the way, okay, niko na swali. Male therapist wanapatanga clients.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
In fact, a lot.
A lot. Okay, I get you.
Our mini.
Okay. Why did you have to make me? Oh God. I need to create a filter for my own,
And in fact, hata hapo tukiwa hapo kwa male therapy, let me tell you. Today's topic is single parenting versus emotionally secured and mature people. So basically, emotionally secured and mature people, these are people who have dealt with their traumas. It's not that they no longer have the traumas, but they've embodied that as part of their life. So unapata huu ni mtu akikuwa triggered, they don't react, they respond. Not that the triggers that when you deal with your traumas means all the triggers are gonna go. The triggers are gonna remain, but you're gonna be emotionally stable to be calm enough to discern situations instead of judging them. So no matter how impulsive something might be, you'll just be calm because the only way you get a solution is to not be impulsive. So the correspondence is now. I'll dive into the darkness.
Already?
Uko sure unataka kudive bila
Like real fast.
You're just diving in.
I'll just dive into the
Swimming pool. Okay.
the high rate ya single mothers right now. The blame yenye tumeweka ni from emotionally immature men and is from the boys, is from the deadbeat boys. That is just a side effect. It's not the core issue. How I'm seeing it, the reason single mothers wanaongezeka is because wanakuwa encouraged. How are they getting encouraged? is by making men feel like if you are a real man, then you need to take care of a woman and a child.
First, before even we go to that darkness, let me go back to when you're talking about trauma. Do you think there's anybody who has like 100% been able to understand their own trauma?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Dori.
You know what I hear him talking about and what I think, because I'm also a certified psychologist.
Oh, well.
In my own standards.
Hata mimi
In my
nina
own
kwaka.
standards. In my own standards.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I term that as self-regulation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're able to master, of course, your traumas, you know what triggers you, you know, of course, that comes with self-awareness. And then self-awareness comes with self-regulation, such that the trauma doesn't go away. But even with the trauma, you're able to know, like, okay, let's say I'm triggered by stress. So I know if I'm going to work and it's a stressful work environment, I'm expecting to be triggered maybe into like a quiet, shy person who like doesn't want to blossom because you don't know what the stressful environment can bring out of you. Jujui ka utadeliver. So if I know that already as I go na self-regulate, niko aware, so I know as I enter hapa, kuna possibility I might be shy and relaxed because I don't know what the stressful environment entails. So yes, of course, kuna different kinds of trauma, and that's why I am pro therapy with a good therapist, of course, but I'm not sure he is. Room for doubt.
It's valid.
Room for
Very
doubt.
valid. Very valid. Very valid.
Room for doubt.
Okay.
So with a good therapist, of course, there is guided therapy, and you can also do your own therapy. You can identify your traumas, you can work through your traumas. It's possible, but there are people who have mastered their traumas and who know fully what their traumas are, what their triggers are, and everything, and they're able to, like, they have the best quality of life.
Yeah. It's interesting. You talk about self-awareness, and this also talks about self-awareness.
That's a package I offer.
Yes.
Self-awareness and healing.
Okay. So, I believe the healing will be like you embrace the trauma first, and then you get self-aware about it, right? What would be, if you may, 2 or 3 pointers that you know that you go on the straight trajectory for self-aware? Ndio tukitoka hapa, we now go to that enabling factor you're talking about, single mothers and men that are making mothers, let me call them the poorers, that they're entitled to that.
First thing first is, if you can define who you are.
Nasi ati mother, father.
If you can define useme who Karembo is beyond the titles, beyond the roles, beyond the societal expectations, beliefs. If you can define that person, then at least sasa utakuwa sasa you are aware. Then once you can define that person, secondly, everything you'll be doing going forward will be intentional. So it will be, if it's intentional, it will be based on alignment. So utakuwa ukiamka asubuhi, si ati lazima ukiamka lazima ufanye kazi. You'll ask yourself, why am I waking up? Kayo siku una kitu kufanya, lala. It's the same way venye tumekuwa you are eating 3 meals. That is a concept for lack of a better word, it's a concept for slavery, for a slavery system.
Capitalistic society.
Like kula asubuhi, ati lunch and supper. But when you're dealing with alignment, itakuwa ni, you don't have to eat in the morning. You eat when you're hungry, like on need basis. Then utakuja upate urealize in a day you don't actually need 3 meals.
Yeah.
If you're eating on need basis. Kwanza, especially if someone is busy. Utajipata tu unakula one heavy meal, a strong one. Na siku yako imeisha hivyo. Na hiyo ukiangalia in other sides, because kuna watu hawako hivyo, kuna watu waishi in alignment na vitu wanasotiwa nazo ni vitu za side effects. Unaambiwa intermittent fasting. Ati practice intermittent fasting. What you're being told is, can you eat on a need basis? There's nothing like intermittent fasting.
No. Yeah.
Eat on a need basis. So once you are living in alignment, like you're now intentional with everything you do. Meaning, if you are stupid, you are intentionally stupid. If you're arrogant, you are intentionally arrogant. If you're falling in love, you're intentionally falling in love.
Yeah.
If you're hating someone, it's intentional. Hakuna ati yani ile by the way, I hate you. Na si ati niko ubaya. Yani like for real, from a very calm place, an overflowing place, I just hate you. Because when you're in my yes,
You know, overflowing. Wow. That is, it's like you've dedicated.
like yani,
Hating the person.
every energy I have is distributed equally. If I love you, it's the same way I'll hate you. Like, you know, it's an emotional thing. And that's the beauty of now being intentional. Because if you come and prove me wrong, that you are not the person I hate, won't it be the best for both of us? Because you would have actually shown me, yeah, I was just hating you from my own projections. You know, you are not that person. So you've shown your real you. And then secondly, I've learned something, not just to judge people or project. No, so ukiangalia hivyo ni vyovyote vile, however shit turns out, it's either a lesson or no, it's something now you can just let go.
Okay.
For me, my metric is for self-awareness. I believe you can never get to peak self-awareness because we evolve. So, of course, the person I was 2 years ago, and maybe nilikuwa nafikiria niko very self-aware, is not the person I am today. So, for me, self-awareness looks like knowing your strengths and your weaknesses, in a sense. And, kama, for instance, I know I'm pretty. So, if you... Okay, yes, his strength, just an example. You're just a feature.
Pretty ni strength. Semeni tu ukweli. Watu wa ugly first impression inakuwaga shida. Unakuja unakuwa mwagli watu wakuamini.
Watu nafikiria ni mwizi.
Wewe ni mwizi.
Wanadakata hiyo.
So, you are pretty.
So, I know I'm pretty. I mean, I'm active on X as well. If someone comes, yes, this sijui amefanya nini na amenipata kwa speaker panel, and then ameamua kuniambia I'm not pretty. Yani, like, hiyo itakuwa tu an issue to me because I know for a fact I'm pretty.
Hiyo ni wewe tuna project.
Hiyo ni wewe sijui umetoka wapi, ukafanya nini. So, I know, yani hata uniambie mara 10, I know for a fact. Yani, umesema tunapeana link ya facts. Okay, nitawapea link to my Instagram.
Tuangalie ana pia muingie live pale YouTube muone hiyo fact.
Muone hiyo fitness.
For self-awareness.
When I started, no, I wasn't self-aware. I'm more aware now. So, again, as I was saying, so strengths and weaknesses. So, maybe tuseme a weakness ni nini? Maybe tuseme a weakness in that Doreen flirts a lot.
Watch out.
Doreen ana flirt a lot, right? Hiyo ni a weakness.
How is it a weakness?
Okay, I attract
Kwanza tusikie mbona hiyo ni weakness? Mbona hiyo ni weakness? Imekuingiza shida kwa relationship?
That's just I flirt a lot. I'm just saying.
No, tunasema mbona ni shida. Why have you used that to
an example?
It's just an example. Why have you used the example?
Like being flirtatious, being
Utapull maybe hata watu una intend kupull. Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, acha nitafute another weakness.
mbona hiyo ni strength.
Okay. Weakness. Maybe glutton.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, bas. Exactly. So, maybe kwanza I'm a master procrastinator. Master. Like, I do the thing I need to do when last possible time I can do it.
pressure. You work well under pressure.
See, I don't work well, but
You work
just
under
work.
pressure.
Under pressure. So unaona hiyo ni a weakness. So if someone comes and points it out to me and I'm aware that I'm a procrastinator, haitani affect. But if I didn't know it's a weakness for me, ama like it's a weakness that I haven't accepted, itakuwa very hard for me to come. Mtu akikuja comment nitaanza kufeel yani saa ameona. So guys, sasa tutafanyaje?
Utakasirika na yeye.
Yeah. Exactly. So if you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses. You've embraced your, like, that's an aspect. Of course, there are many other aspects, but that's an aspect, and that's a metric I look for, and I try to achieve, is that I want to know all my strengths, all my weaknesses, such that I am aware in that sense, because these are the vitu zitani affect in my day-to-day life, in my career life, in my dating life, in my friendship life, family life, hizo vitu zote. So yeah.
Aspirant mother of 7.
Yeah.
Scoff.
Hopefully sitakuwa a single mother. No, just one.
No.
In line with our topic, I hope sitakuwa a single mom.
Yeah, we are hoping so.
Yeah.
But you know the best part about it, the current generation become the blueprint of how this whole situation single parenthood, self-aware, like you become the definition of it. So it sets
Single mothers.
no single parenthood. Because you know we totally single mothers as well. You have
So
to that.
how does it need you to self-awareness at you?
No, I find that for the generations, especially after, you can see what kind of impact.
Oh, nyinyi ndio example.
Yes, we are the example.
Yes.
You see the way we've been thinking that. Think about it, like millennials today, go soma, get a job. That is the
Lakini kuna burning thought, naona kaitapotea. Ndio umesema single parenthood. Nimefikiria like for there to exist a single dad, ni very hard, because the single dad has to be co-parenting, and no, as in very hard for me, because either you find, for me nimeona, you find it's either people they were in a loving relationship, the mom passed on, so wana raise the kid alone, ama the kids alone. But unaona a situation where kuna a rapid increase in single moms compared to, like, it's very okay, not impossible, it's very hard for a mom to desert the child. It's very hard. So you find an increase in single moms than there is single dads. And you mentioned that emotional, like, tuna blame, okay, I don't know what you said. Like
basically is trying to make emotionally stable people take responsibility for fuck-ups which are now single parenthood.
So then why isn't it seen as being a single dad as a fuck up? Why is it just a fuck up when it's a single mom?
It is also a fuck up for a single dad. Akichukua dem, huyo dem, I'm coming as a package.
Really?
go back to repeat that. You say
If now a dad has kids, and then now me and you have had like a connection, right? Then now I'm expecting you to take responsibility, like I'm coming as a package. I have 4 kids.
You know the difference I see, Apple? Is that if you're coming with 4 kids, ideally you wouldn't expect the lady to be footing your bills for the kids. But if a single mom, not all, but if a single mom is coming with a kid as a package, they expect for you to foot.
But you know, now
most of the time,
you've gone to the financial stability, which is not an issue for someone who's emotionally stable. You know,
don't forget, Doreen talked about.
Wait, if I'm emotionally stable and I'm financially stable, I have no problem with taking care of you and your kids, because I can handle that. I have the capacity to handle all that. You understand? But it's not an obligation I have to do it. It's the same peer, like for a guy, mwenye kona watoi, then you go to an emotionally stable woman. It's not that she can't nurture your kids. she will nurture them, but it's not an obligation that she has to do that. Like anaweza kuja hata akiwa emotionally stable ako like it's me and you. As for your kids, I'm really not prepared for that. That's why I don't have kids. You know, and she's allowed to say that.
But how would that look like?
Yeah.
So you see now hapo sasa umeingia ile part ya you want now to demonize how someone or invalidates how someone feels.
How exactly?
Me who's emotionally stable and you have kids, it's okay for me to come and tell you I really don't want to be part of your kids. And it should be okay whether it looks bad or not. It only looks bad to those who are projecting now the insecurities. You know, because if I don't want to take care of your kids, then see, it's okay. You go to your kids. What's your responsibility on your kids? Were you saying, hey, now that I have kids and now that I've fucked up, the next man, I want a real man. I want a man who can take care of me and my children. Oh, I come as a package. Bruh, I didn't work for whatever I'm working for so that I can follow an obligation. I want to do things on alignment. Now, if I get along with you, okay, if I happen to get along with your kids, that's a bonus. But it shouldn't be an obligation.
For me, what how I'm looking at this and why, by the time you're telling me about kids and all that, or you're trying to say the package is coming in, you might have clicked. But if I'm not for it, I mean, we all go our separate ways because why would I still keep having a conversation if I'm not ready to take you as a whole package? I was comfortable with the kid situation. It's something that I also have to get to accommodate if I'm emotionally stable. So sometimes I find that, especially for single parenthood, and now let's say if you're gonna date, there are usually a lot of you have to ask yourself as a single parent, is this somebody who's here for just short term, long term? Do they really understand the kind of the way you call it baggage that I have kids or a kid in this situation? Do they understand what it takes? Because you need to really understand by the time you're dating somebody who's a single parent, and probably they've gotten to a place where they have that stability emotionally and all that. They are grounded. So in the end of the day, it's about this as a person. Are they willing to accommodate this?
An emotionally stable parent who's grounded is not attached to their child. They are totally detached. They don't mix their relationships with their child.
But if they're emotionally
So they're very okay if this guy says, hey, I don't want to be part of your children. The emotionally stable person is already taking care of their children. They're like, no, you don't have to. Everything about my kids is sorted. They have a father figure. They have everything. Like you,
But
this is
how,
me and
how
you.
practical
You have a
is
point.
that? But
Huh?
how
This
practical
is me and you.
I start to see your point.
Yeah, but how practical is that? How have you seen this now?
Now it is very impossible because most of us are not emotionally stable.
Correct.
You understand?
Yes.
Now for those who are emotionally stable, kuna cancel culture. Inakuja ati this man alikataa to take care of this woman and kids. Why? Kwani you didn't understand? Venye umesema, kwani you didn't understand the package this woman came with? What you are propagating is a woman who's not sorted her shit, wants to bring this baggage on someone who's sorted their shit. And then when that person akuja aseme, hey, by the way, you know what, I really don't want to do that.
You know what I'm
unakuja
looking...
unamwambia, you're a
Okay,
bad person.
I'm looking... I was looking from a point of a place where, as much as probably it's companionship, it's a long-term thing. So are you going to keep the child out of this?
No,
comfort?
the child is going to be there, but this person you've brought in your life is not a factor in your children's life.
Yes.
Meaning he can leave, he can go, it won't affect your children.
Yeah, but that's the thing, because it's how you introduce these other persons to the kids.
Emotional, it's not how, it's just emotional maturity.
Yes, if it's emotional maturity, because I'm looking at it from a point of what are the kind of people you're introducing. They're friends, and then you have people who probably you're dating and things like that. You have to ask yourself, are these the people you want to introduce that they get to be also, they understand?
Again, you are getting out of the nini. Point is, instead of asking, are these people the right people, you ask yourself, are you in a right place to go bring another person in your life?
And that's
Have
what
you
I was
sorted
taught.
your
Yes,
shit? So
and
you leave people out of this
yes,
shit.
and that is where I was coming from, because I'm coming from a place where if you really have understood yourself, you're self-aware of your situation, you've embraced your traumas and all that, you definitely get to know who is stable and unstable, who is able to accommodate or not, who is able to handle the situation at hand.
Which situation is this to be handled? That's
You
the
know,
one I'm not
Dizo
getting.
mentioned something that I think we're not okay, that I want to pick on. About parents not being attached to their children. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it from a point of, yes, you're my child, but you can have a life without me.
But the question that are we looking at which age is this that you think this child is independent?
The age you make him. That's your responsibility. You see, Karembo, do you know how a child becomes independent?
Tell me.
Haya. Hata I think kuna time hata Putin alikuwa anasema hapa ya.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Baiko.
I wonder why I can't see that. I can't see the space.
Give me your phone quick.
So unaona wewe, mtoi unamwamsha asubuhi kila siku. Mtoi unamwambia time anafaa kukula food. Mtoi unaenda paka yani akikula akimess up vitu zote nini, wewe ndio unaenda una pick up. Wewe ndio unaenda una pick up after the child. How fundishi huo mtoi kuwa independent?
Independence, but that's not independence, Tizo. Do you know what's been independent? An independent child is the one who gets to understand that taking care of themselves, that's just basic. Like,
that's independence. Let me hear you what you mean by independence.
For me, I find independent is where a child muneza get to a place of reasoning.
With what?
Simple things like the way they carry themselves, trying to understand how life works. That's how I call it.
What do you mean how life works?
Yes, because for example, what if you have a clingy child? Will you call that child independent? Because
Karembo even listening to what I'm saying. Because now wewe nika usikizi kabisa. Karembo you.
Okay, sawa.
Huyu mtu amezona out.
Sijazona out.
Ebu repeat.
About independence.
Independence ya mtoi, hizo vitu zote zenye unasema ndo kitu nimesema. Fundisha mtoi to be independent. Hata kama ni hiyo ukikunywa ukitumia nini hapa.
Wachana na maji.
Toa hiyo peleka huko.
What about understanding concepts of
society? Funny how that is
understanding
concepts.
Una discover in what you're saying, independence, a parent has a role in it. So you can't detach because you are training your child on how to be independent.
Yes, now you train without attachment. Because when training without attachment...
It doesn't make sense, Diesel.
Sasa simusikize Karembo.
Apana.
And then please, saizi sikiza ndo ukijibu. Don't make me feel like I'm talking in reverse.
Uniambia ati mtoto anafaa kujua
can you chill out and just
panguze
listen?
Meza,
Can you just
take care of themselves?
You see,
no.
Teaching a child without attachment. This is how you can teach a child without attachment. Akifanya kitu, you don't project yourself on that child. You see that child as an individual and they have done a mistake. Like ile unaangalia uko okay, what happened? Unajua? Wewe ndio kama mzazi utakuja ujue mtoi wako ni type gani.
At what age is that?
It depends with you of how stable you are.
At what age is that? That a child is able to conceptualize that this is what's happening. Do you know that
Karembo, you are running away.
That only happens at 8 years upwards.
Karembo, you are running away from accountability.
Au watu wote, na assume ni watu wengi, na ni watu knowledgeable, na ni watu walikuwa wamefanya research, ndo wakuja waseme utakuwa adult at 18. Kwani walikuwa wameruka akili?
Sijakata au hiyo sijakata nayo. Mimi I'm not here to say that however other things have been zimekuwa wrong.
No, it's okay. I'm just saying what's the definition of an adult? An adult, like there's a difference between a child and an adult.
So ndio hii ndo nawaelezea. And here this is my other version that can work. Amwezi niambia iwezi work. Unaelewa, like you can't give me a standard and tell me how that standard is supposed to be.
We're just trying to understand.
Yes. So is what I'm telling you, like me, I'm giving you a standard that I see can work. It's not standardized anywhere. It's me. So with detachment, hakuna mali huyu mtoi amekuwa mtu mzima. You are raising this child from akiwa tu mtoto mdogo. Like me, I realized my kid was rebellious from the moment alianza kutembea. That was 7 months. Cause vitu mingi hata ungemtuma huku nini atakuja angalie afanye tu kitu nyingine tu. Na si ati out of hakusikizi. It's just in him. I knew that in 7 months. Now, going forward, before I started my self-awareness, which I started sasa mtoto yangu I think akiwa 4 huko akiwa 3-4. If I go back before that, I was raising my kid from my projection. Unajua, I was so attached to my kid mpaka niko like hivi ndo venye mtoto wangu anafaa kuwa. So the moment he would rebel, I would get so angry. Niko like, why mbona usikizi maneno? Unaona? Because I was so attached to my child. But the moment I detached, I started seeing who my child was.
At what age was that?
At 4. Ndio nakwambia, the moment mimi I detached from my child.
Then I'm
So
thinking,
now venye, wait I learned. So now that I know my child is rebellious, anytime ana rebel kitu, I'm not going hard on him. I'll be like, okay, daddy, form. He'll explain to me in his own age, in his own way. Atanielezea, then mimi ndio nikuje kama kuna adult mwingine, then I'll explain to the adult in a way I understand him. Unaona? So hakuna mahali ati mimi natitigi mtoi wangu ati hivi ndio venye unafaa kuwa. He's totally independent. Anaweza decide, daddy mimi hiyo kitu sitaki. There was a day I called him. We were to meet. And I think I said this about the other time. Niko like, daddy, leo see, we are linking up. Ako like, okay, daddy, today what are we doing? Nikamwambia, I haven't thought about it, but maybe tunaweza enda games pale next gen na nini. He was like, today I don't feel like it. See, we can check tomorrow. Not that we can do it tomorrow. We can check tomorrow. And I was like, okay. And nikikata hiyo simu, I was feeling the urge of, mbona mtu yeye anakuambia kitu ya kufanya? Unajua, mkolu mwambie unataka kumuona. And at that moment, I remembered, this is an attachment you want to project on that child. That child has communicated to you what they are feeling at that moment, which is very valid.
And I actually say that is fine. I get that.
And that is independence. And that one is from a very young age.
Thank you.
It's not that yalifika 18.
Yes, that kind of independence is understanding situation at hand.
Not understanding, it's just independence.
Okay.
Full-blown
The reason I
independence.
say this is because from one way of doing it to the next, and from one child to the next, they might be different. And the reason I say this is because your child is not still 4. Amefika
So many
mahali
if
now.
they are different, goja before ende mbali. So many if children are different.
Unanizima rasmali hizi kwa
Goja. If children are different, then tutoe hiyo notion ya 18 years.
Thank
Because
you.
a child can develop any age.
me,
Right?
I think the reason maybe nilikuwa nakosa kuunderstand ni the use of the terms you are using. Attachment na independence.
Yes.
Because what I hear you saying is let your child have a personality.
Let them be you. Themselves without
Exactly.
you.
That is fine.
Exactly. That is totally
Yes.
fine.
And
You
you see,
can't
such
do that
person-
with attachment.
You
Maybe
can.
You can't unless you don't understand what attachment
What
is.
is
No,
attachment?
Attachment is an ego connection with the other person. That's an attachment. You are attached to that person because you are codependent to that person. That's what an attachment is. You can check what an attachment is.
Okay.
Like to
As
discuss
Doreen
from
checks,
her
the reason I'm saying this is because of this. So you understood your child's behavior by the time he was the age of 4.
7
Okay.
is when I knew. I just took the core identity of who he was.
Thank you.
He was
so
rebellious.
you actually did cement what you actually cemented what I said. A place where these kids get to understand that kind of independence and personality can only come where you're having proper conversation. Not at the age of 4. There's a bit of dependency on each other, like the child onto you, him onto her. Then when you come to
The definition.
define the define.
Affection, fondness, or sympathy for someone or something.
What is that? If that's not ego.
That's not ego.
All those.
You can
That's not ego.
Let me tell you something.
That is codependence.
No, do that versus ego.
That
It
is
brings out,
codependence.
you know?
That is.
Wait, this is the reason I say this is because I myself am also a parent, and I'm in a place where I can explain situations better to her, and she can also give, express herself and say what she thinks about it. So we have to come to a place of get into a place of understanding. So how would you say that is not codependence on each other?
Again,
Because
I'm saying I don't know what you have, Karembo. You chenye ume explain, you might not be codependent or you might be. Here I'm talking about you shouldn't be having a codependent relationship. If you're having a codependent relationship, you're going to project how you a standard of you, your limitations on that person through expectations. So wewe utakuwa ni I expect you to be like this, and yet maybe that's not who they are. So they start hiding from themselves from who they actually are because of the codependence. Like, hey, mi madhangu akajua nye mu hiva, madhangu anaweza dedi. What is that? That is attachment.
That's how we grew up.
I haven't refused.
Okay.
Me, I'm giving just a totally
But
different
our
idea.
kids,
I
yes.
am not saying. So, meaning you raising your kid has nothing to do with a conversation. Anyone can have a conversation with their kid. The core factor here is you being emotionally stable and self-aware.
And you see that stability that you're talking about to a place where there is independence of each other. It means you need to have had a conversation with this child for them to know.
Again, you have gone to the
their life,
conversation
you have
before
your life.
you. Why are you running from your? Hold yourself accountable. Before when you having a conversation, are you self-aware and emotionally stable? Bas hapo ndo tunaanzia. Huko kwingine,
Yeah, but
for
the
as
moment,
long as you're emotionally
as long
stable,
as
then
you're
hizo zingine
stable,
ni byproduct.
So ndio
Whether you
nasema
have a
if you're
conversation
stable,
with them or not,
No.
that's just a byproduct.
na ndio nauliza, if you're stable enough, you should be able to handle any kind of questions or any kind of query that the child is asking about this independence that you found about
So
your
meaning
life.
the focus is stability, Karembo. That's what I'm saying.
Then-
like you are running to
Let
what
me-
is going to
let me-
happen after stability.
Let me ask you. So, if your son comes to you with a question or something that needs guidance on, and it has something to do with personality or, all those things, what will you do?
Like the way I do it just in therapy. I'll guide him through his own alignment. Like I'll be like, me, all I have is the tools, but I don't have the solution.
So you're letting the child look for the solutions for themselves.
I'm guiding him for him to look for the solutions.
But they're young. Sometimes you have to be there.
Again,
You have
it
to
works,
step up.
Karembo. It has nothing to do whether you're young or not. All you need is tools.
Yeah, let me ask. So which kind of tools are these you think the child that you didn't have a solution to show them?
No, I don't have a solution for another individual unless they exactly look like me.
But are the children not looking at like
Help me
Yeah,
understand.
No, they
Help
don't
me.
have. My child doesn't have my personality.
Help me
He has his
understand.
own
they don't have to
personality.
really have the same personality or
Then we
stuff.
can't have the same
But
solution.
you're the parent.
We
You
can't
might
have
not.
no, you can't have Karembo. You can't have a solution. Your solution is not someone's solution.
We're
That's the
talking in
first
that
thing you have to
nuclear
remember,
point.
whether it's a child or an adult. All you can do is give this person tools to navigate through whatever they're going through. Now, if it's a child, there are tools you can give a child. Kuwa na yeye hapo kama venye nilisema like daddy, what is this? Si ndio?
Mhm.
Wewe unaijua, kama tuseme mimi uniulize what is kalongo. To be honest, maybe sijui venye nitakuelezea hiyo kitu. Cause mimi venye naijua kwa kichwa yangu, that shit is dirty as hell. So I don't know how I'll explain to you. So I'll be like, okay, let's check it out. Mi niende ni search in a kiddish way kalongo. Then tuangalie na yeye ikue, do you understand this? There was a time we were having a conversation with him. Nikueleze pati ya kwa nini mimi siwezi mpatia solution. So I was telling him cause walikuwa na macases na mavijana, yani boys juu walikuwa wanaenda wanafanya nini. So nilikuwa namuuliza hizo ni nini mnaenda mnajifungia ati mnafanya, cause hakuna, walikuwa wanaenda wanajifungia kwa store fulani. Then he's like, no, we just go just tukae huko, we play nini. Nikamuuliza, do you love boys? Do you know what he told me?
No.
Yes.
But
told
the
me
kind
yes.
of love of just
You know, like now
brotherly
for me
love.
in my head, do you know the first thing I was like, Kwani, you're gay? Do you know what he asked me? What is gay? You understand? It's when I realized I'm about to open a whole entire room for this child that is innocently not there. So meaning I don't need to give him any solution. So I was like, okay, so do you think how the other parents are complaining about you and you leading these other people in that room, are you seeing any problem there? Then he was like, I was not the one who led them there. You know, then he started explaining nini. Tukimaliza yuko wesa unaonaje, how are we going to nini this? Ati I will not go there anymore with sio ni solution yake amekama up nayo. Si mimi nimemwambia you're not supposed to go
But
there.
you've directed it.
Tools. So I haven't
It was your
given
guidance.
I haven't given him a solution.
But that's what I'm talking about, the dependency of a
You've
parent.
talked about solutions, Karembo. Wacha kurukaruka go.
No, yes,
okay,
it is a
tusaidiane
solution.
hivi.
It
Yes.
is tools.
Tusaidiane hivi.
Before that uingia
Tusaidiane.
hapo, let me tell you why nasema that child cannot be independent. It was not for you. If it wasn't for you to be there and have that conversation, that's the codependency on each other.
Karembo,
The-
you're saying
wait,
that
wait,
because
wait,
that's
wait,
all
wait.
you know. You want to force that
yeah,
codependence
yeah.
between a child and a parent is a must. Because
How-
that's all you know, but it is not impossible.
Provision of
Do you agree
those-
that it can be impossible, first of all? That you don't have to be codependent with your child? Because if you don't agree with that, then this discussion, what we are having, is you are refusing my opinion, and me, I'm not refusing yours.
The one thing I know is this: at certain age, these children get to, they become independent on their own. I don't need to force it so
That
early
is
on.
based
Let
on
me.
you, Karembo, but it doesn't mean it's wrong to make a child independent from a young age.
Which is fine.
Yes.
But that whole independency thing is a good thing because it helps with their self-esteem, being articulate, being smart and all that. It makes a lot of sense. But that independence has you to guide it to be where it is.
It's an independence. It's not a codependence. It's an independence. That's my
You're the
core
one
point.
providing the tools. So that's the
Yo, and
codependence.
the way I provide tools to so many people. Like, I don't show my son at bruh, it's only you I'm doing this for.
Probably you need to call it dependence, codependence independence.
How?
Okay.
Okay, Doreen.
Thanks.
And Baiko can come in after that.
Respected cheating. But then you're saying.
Several questions for you.
Respectfully cheating. Cheating
So,
respectfully.
your son comes to you,
Mm,
8 years thereabout.
yes.
Tells you,
You need some water?
my voice.
No?
No,
See?
I'm okay, thanks.
Okay.
Stop distracting
Yeah.
me.
Tells you, Dad, my classmates keep picking on me, and I think it has something to do with how I am. Not, I cannot stand up for myself. Just that. Give me a scenario of how you'd handle that.
Why can't you stand up for yourself? Now we start having a conversation from there. Like, is there anything here that we are not giving you, or like anything you might need? Because children do talk, they're very expressive and they're very honest.
So you say a parent should give the child guidance, not solutions.
Yeah.
So, which relationship is there? A relationship that's supposed to be co-independent,
Co-independent?
codependent. Sorry,
Yeah.
codependent. Are there relationships that should be codependent?
Yeah, relationships of people who are unstable and maybe they codepend on each other. Like my anchor is on you and your anchor is on me.
And that's healthy.
That's not healthy.
That's immaturity. There's some immaturity to it.
That's not healthy at all. Because that way, the other person, if let's say you're draining, you're going unaenda uko chini, utapatia mtu obligation ya taking care of you all their life. Even when it's taking them down with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Then for me, I finally understand what you're saying.
Okay.
I understand that a relationship between a parent and a child should not be codependent. So, the same way, okay, I think it's because I understand therapy and how maybe therapy goes. And I understand how kunakuanga na hizo points of like a light bulb moment ama an epiphany that does not come from your therapist telling you, hey, by the way, like huyo mwache. But atakuguide through that conversation na uone wa enyewe nafaa ni mwache.
Yes.
So that's totally different thing. So if I went to therapy, I told them, so hii relationship unaonaje? Then aniambia, hey, hapo ni kubaya. Wa. So therapy is not advice. So ati, hey, by the hapo wa sa utadu hiyo enda tu. And I think that's where parents go wrong. Because if I start getting an independent life from the word go, then I will not struggle. Like, I will not struggle with a point where my parents now detach and I have to figure out life on my own. So, if at all there was that independence as I was growing up, and then I would be guided in things, then of course, I would have learned how to guide myself in things such that I would have developed that thought process of like, okay, so today my boss was angry with me at work. If my boss was angry with me at work, does it have anything to do with me? Yes, I did shoddy work. Okay. Higher. Did I do not? Okay, maybe that's a different scenario. Maybe I did not do shoddy work. My boss has a bad temperament. Then I understand that, hey, it doesn't have anything to do with me. He's just a shoddy person. Na hiyo story ishe, sitakusumbuka. So, parents, in my opinion, should let their children be, guide them, and not give them solutions, because you will be projecting your experiences, and your experiences are not rightly so good experiences. They could be good, they could be bad, but that's not their experience. You had Dizo say that alikuwa anataka kumwambia kuhusu gay people na hata hajaisikia kuhusu gay people.
Yeah, all that.
What is gay?
So that's 100% correct.
Okay.
Okay, in my
What?
opinion.
Okay. Yeah, Baiko is coming in. There's something I know producers are doing so that we can get to hear him. So that's why I want to still
we can't hear him.
Yasi.
Anakuwaga na sauti ndogo akiwa home.
Baiko,
Namjua.
before Baiko joins in, the reason I want to talk about that dependency about children and all that.
Can you hear me?
Can he be heard na watu wa space?
Okay. So we give it. Okay, so we are good. We are good. Okay. So as we wait for this to...
Baiko senye tunangoja najua ni mic inakuwaga imekusaidia sana. Wewe tunajua tu.
we have a rabbit that is called Baiko. He's the
He's the one without the face.
Yeah, the one without the face na ni mtu wa Dizo sana. They have a bromance thing.
Oh.
But I think it's a bromance thing happening in this podcast.
She's jealous.
Mnakuwa brother now, so it's fine.
Ukwagi brother. You're actually a lady to us. You really want to make yourself a brother, but no.
So let me give you an example. I grew up as an independent child. I think coming from a family of 7, middle child, not really middle child, but I used to be the forgotten child. So most of the time it used to be more like, is it that I'm not noticed, I'm what's happening, even if I perform, I don't perform, funny people are not noticing I'm there. So I realized, okay, sir, upper, we go as it is. Then between me and the sister that I follow, there's an age gap of about 3-4 years even. So I ended up being like a firstborn for the last 2 behind me. And at one point I remember, because there was that, the way we used to grow up, you used to be attached to you, make one of this sister, well, make one of this one. So as early as 8 years, I realized, oh, these guys are leaving. I'll be left in charge. I was like, why am I remaining behind? I can also disappear from this place, do my own thing. So at that age, I actually approached my parents and asked them, I want to go for to boarding school. They thought probably I'm having...
Hello, Karembo.
Yes. Okay. So I actually
Can you hear me,
thought I'm
Karembo?
having my own kind of issues at the time. My parents thought so. But I was like, I'm in a place where I understand it's not a performance, like in school or anything. I just want to be independent, have my own space where I just thrive in my own world and stuff like that. It took them almost 2 years to be able to give me what I wanted. Because you see, as you're saying, parents will tend to project or tend to force a certain. They were like, no, you don't need to go to boarding school. You have private schools that you can go to and all that. Like, no, I want the boarding school. At the time, it's because for me, I was like, either way, even growing up, I felt mostly I was my own person most of the time.
Yeah.
I would always think probably because I don't know, my sisters were not naughty, but your system that them they had known so long, my parents. Like if one moja ki misbehave wanachapa wote. So I would be like, mbona sichapwi? I should be part of this group ya kuchapa, but like, no, you're not there. So I really felt like I'm missing out a lot on this kind of so what love growing up. What do I think about it? How has it molded me growing up? I become too you know your boldness. I have I speak my mind. Imefika mahali miss independent inaleta shida, you know. So to a point hadi unasikia dizo, you'll hear in some of those episodes like you should never get married just because I'm
Don't I have news for you?
yes.
So I discovered there's a concept in psychology discovered by this psychologist, apparently says kumbuka the name of maybe like called a dethroned middle child. So I'm a middle child myself. And so the concept says that a dethroned middle child, of course it's a psychology drawn out of family order. So a dethroned middle child is often forgotten, and they tend to find and look for space. They look confused at first because they're not being noticed by parents, by siblings. They're just there. So when you find this narrative, it doesn't have to be 3 children, just as long as you're a middle child somehow.
Yeah.
And there's an age gap somehow between you and your
The next person
the next
or
sibling
before
and whatever. So what happens? You act confused, and then you're trying to find a space and you're trying to be seen. So what happens? When you're trying to be seen and you're trying to do all these things, you develop certain attributes that seem detached from the norm and from other people. So even in career choices, you tend to choose career choices that are
opposite.
like very yani kama kwani walikuwa wanafanya wao ni mawakili wana decide kuwa artist, msanii wa sanaa, you know. So and then you like easy boldness, kukua whatever, ina come out of like not having a space and then finding it, and then you become very bold and you feel very seen. And yani it's a whole psychology about dethroned middle children that I feel like I want to tell every middle child, because we talk a lot about the firstborn and how the firstborn parents and how the firstborn does what. But what about this dethroned middle child?
Yes. So what I noticed is this. After now, like growing up, imefika mahali, you realize all of a sudden, even the parent is asking for your opinion. They want you to make decisions here and then. You're like, I know. I was never there.
Yeah.
Like, you should have gone to then you're like, okay. So I think that whole kind of independence also is a way it gets to also affect the kids as they grow. So the question would be, because you can imagine how she actually cements that whole kind of independence, what it happens, what kind of effect it has. So how do we try to curb it so that they don't have to feel lost, confused, but at the same time, with that same kind of tools that you're giving them, they feel like just haulika, because that independence I would not want. I mean, girls, we always want to have their attention. Why would I want to make my daughter will be like, Mom, maybe probably wants to displace me with somebody else? No, we don't want that kind
That
of
one
thing.
it comes from okay. Nilikuwa nakanika sijisikii.
Asema unataka kusikia tu baiko.
Anapenda sauti yangu. Tafadhali.
Ni
Alafu mimi
baiko.
sasa sikuwa dethroned.
Wewe
Uko on the throne.
Mimi nilibaki tu on the throne.
Last born. You're a last born?
You know, you look like a last born just because
Bruh.
of how loved
Apana.
I am. I'm a firstborn.
You're not a firstborn.
Full blown firstborn.
You're not a firstborn.
Yeah, I
These
get
are
it.
two.
Let me kidogo tu. So this middle child, like I wrote it down somewhere. Nitasoma to just very briefly co-experiences of the dethroned middle child, neglected feelings, peacemaker role, rebellion or withdrawal, adaptable and empathetic. It's called the Adlerian theory. So uliuliza about mechanisms, how like
How to help them cope, yeah.
Where are they?
Mkumbuke guys, facts. We have facts.
Kuna facts.
See story too, blah blah blah.